my lovelies. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do this super cute French braid. It's fairly simple. There are a couple of tricky parts, but I'm sure with a little bit of practice you're going to be able to get it just fine. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and show you what you will need for this hairstyle. The first thing you will need is a comb. Any comb will work, but this is very helpful to part the hair and to comb out any knots as you go. The second thing you will need are hair ties to tie off the end of the braid. You can use either the bigger hair ties like for ponytails if the person's hair is thick, or you can use tiny rubber bands. These are actually rainbow loom rubber bands, and you can use these if the person's hair is thin at the ends. The third thing you don't actually need, but it can be very helpful. These are bobby pins. These can be very helpful when you're done with the braid to pin off any sections of the person's hair that are loose, especially if the person's hair is short. I'm starting with her hair parted right now the way she normally parts it, and since we're going to do 2 French braids, I also have to part her hair down the back. So I'm going to take my comb and start where her part ends and just follow it straight down the back. And then I'm going to do the right side first. So I'm going to take the left side of her hair and just pull it up into a ponytail or a bun, depending how long her hair is. So now we have this right side of the head, and this is all the hair that's going to go into this French braid. And I'm going to go to the front and pick up a small section of hair. You can pick up any size section you want. However, the smaller size section you pick up, the closer to the front of her head the braid will start. And I want it to start pretty close, so I'm going to pick up a fairly small section of hair there, and I'm going to divide it into 3 sections. And we want these to be fairly even, but we're going to be adding hair, so it doesn't matter too much. Now I have my 3 sections, and I'm going to rotate my hand back because we're braiding back this way. If we braid up here, everything's going to be really loose. So I'm going to take them back, and I'm going to hold them all in my right hand like this. And I'm going to take this very left section, and I'm going to cross it over the middle one. And I'm going to take my very right section here and cross it over our new middle piece. And now I'm going to tuck this piece away, hold my other 2 pieces like this, and I'm going to pick up a small section of hair on the left side because this left strand is what's going to cross over next. You can pick up whatever size piece of hair you want, but I'm going to pick up about the size of this strand right now. So I'm going to pick up a little piece of hair and add it in, and I'm going to run it over to smooth it out. And now I have my new left section, which I will cross over the middle. And once again, I'm going to hold everything now in my left hand, and this is our new piece that's going to be crossed over. So I'm going to add a little section from the right side, again about the size of the strand. I'm going to add it in and smooth it out, and now I have my 3 strands just like normal, and we can take them and cross it over. And I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to keep adding strands of hair that are about the same to my strands until I get to about here on her head, like about the crown. And then at that point, the strands are pretty thick, so I'm going to keep adding the same amount of hair and not increasing every time. And so now I'm going to hold them all in my right hand. Take another piece of hair. This one's going to be a little bigger because now our strand's a little bigger. And I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to hold it in the same way in my hand. I'm going to take my left strand and cross it over. I personally think the trickiest thing about French braiding is maneuvering the hair through the hands. There's so many different ways to hold hair. I don't think I technically hold it the technically correct way, but it works for me. And so if you see someone else holding it a way that you think is strange, you don't have to hold it that way. You don't have to hold it the way I am. Just find a way that works for you. So again, I'm picking up a piece of hair, adding it in, and crossing it over. Another trick I have is for people who know how to technically French braid, but their hair, the braid comes out really loose, is a lot of times the braid is very loose if you're holding the hair back far from the braid. So if you notice, I'm holding the hair basically right where I'm stitching. If you hold your hair all the way back here and you braid, it's going to be very loose. So try to grab your hair up really close to where the braid is, like basically on top of the stitch, and it will hold the hair a lot tighter. This part of the hair I find the trickiest because when you take this hair and you pull it in, a lot of times it's a little bumpy, and so it takes a couple extra times of going over to smooth it out. And any bumps at the end, if you want, you can fix with a bobby pin if you don't like them. I would also recommend when you try to make your braids tighter that you don't want to clench up your hands. You do want to hold the hair tight enough, but you don't have to clench your hand muscles really tight. You want to have your hand loose, but just hold the hair close, and that will make it a lot easier. And you can see now that I'm adding in much bigger sections than I was at first because my strands are a lot bigger. And we want to keep up with how far down the head we are. So you want to basically add hair from right across from where on the head you are. If I was still taking tiny sections, I'd be still adding hair from up here and pulling it all the way back here, and it would make the French braid look really strange. Her hair is rather short. It just goes to basically on her shoulders. So this bottom section can be kind of tricky. If you want, you can use a little bit of a hair gel to try to get the flyaways from the short head or stay in. I am personally not using that right now, and so I'm just going to try to hold everything really tight. And so you can see I have like this flyaway right here, and so I'm going to make sure I really hold that under my thumb. And so now you can see I have all the hair in this section in a braid. It's in one of the 3 sections. And so this is the time that if you were braiding on someone with longer hair, you can keep going and do a normal braid all the way down as far as you want and tie it off there, or you could tie it right here and make it into a ponytail. Because her hair is short, I'm just going to do a few more stitches of the braid and then tie it off. And so I'm going to tie this just like I was tying a ponytail, and there we have it. Since some of these pieces are falling out because her hair is so short, I'm going to grab a couple bobby pins and pin those up. So I'm going to take one bobby pin, and the first thing I see is this section right here. And so I'm going to sweep my hand across and pull all the hair up and put the bobby pin in. And I'm using black bobby pins, and her hair is pretty dark, so these shouldn't show up. But you can also tuck them into the braid as you pin, and it will disguise them. And there we have one of the sides of our French braid. Okay, so now that I have the right braid done, I have taken out the left side of her hair, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side of the hair. We're going to pick up a small piece, and I'm going to try to pick up the same size piece I did on the first side, so that they can start in a similar place. And I'm going to separate my 3 sections, and I'm going to pull them back. So now I'm going to start by crossing my left section over the middle, and my right section over the middle. And now I'm ready to start adding hair. So I'm going to take all the hair and hold it in my right hand, scoop up a little piece of hair, add it to the left section, and cross it over the middle. I'm going to shift everything now to my left hand. I'm going to pick up a little piece of hair and add it to the right section and cross it over the middle. And I'm going to keep doing this all the way down the braid. So again, this is the part of her hair where I'm going to start adding a lot of those much bigger sections. And I'm going to keep doing this and try to match it. So like I'm braiding right here and I'm pulling from the same place. So I'm going to try to keep all my sections horizontal as I go down her head. This is probably the part where it gets the hardest, especially if her hair is short, because you're trying to hold it and there's not as much hair sticking out the back, so it can be much harder to grip, as well as the fact that there's just more hair to grip. And her hair is decently thick, so there's a lot of it. So this is where it's really important to make sure that you're holding really close to the braid. because otherwise if you're holding back here, your hands are going to slip off the end of the hair and you'll lose all the braid. So I'm going to grab this last section of hair and just complete a stitch or two and put the hair tie in. And so now we have both braids finished, and this is the part where if you want to go back and put bobby pins in, you can. I'm not going to on this side because it turned out a little neater. And also if you know the person you're braiding on is going to be particularly active that day, you could take some hairspray and spray it down on some of these edges that fly away or anything like that you want to do. These are your French braids.
Thank you so much for watching.
We hope you found it clear and helpful.
Subscribe for a new video every Friday.
And comment down below what other hairstyles you would like to see. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.